Remember the old Star Trek show? Well, anyway, this is about one of the episodes. And I call this "Don't You Get It? You're on a Shore Leave." Years and years ago, I was watching a Star Trek show called Shore Leave. I had no idea while I sat watching the show that it would impact the rest of my life, but it did. As I remember the Star Trek show, the Enterprise was stationed above a world. It was a lovely-looking island paradise, and it appeared to be a very friendly place. So Captain Kirk gave the crew shore leave. Okay, they would be leaving their home, the Enterprise, and they would beam out onto this island. Now, once the crew were out of the Enterprise and onto the island, strange things started to happen. Each crew member was encountering different realities. One found a lost love and resumed the relationship, and it was like heaven. Yep. Another one found their worst enemy, and they took up fighting as if they had never stopped, and it was hell. Another crew member found his greatest fear, and it was absolutely frightening experience. And yet another crew member encountered a monster. He experienced being killed. And to him, he was killed. He was dead. However, back on the Enterprise, Spock, he became really worried when he could not reach any of the crew members. And so he wasn't sure what was going on. So anyway, he beamed down, and when he got down there, Spock understood what was happening. And he took each crew member and showed them that none of what was going on was real. But of course, the crew members couldn't get that. You know, when you're in your reality, you're in your reality. So anyway, he got them to at least listen for a second. And again, everything to them that they saw and heard and felt was real. But patiently, one by one, Spock showed them that it was only their thinking and only their believing the experiences were real that were making them real. He had them change their thinking. Doing so, they got it. Each time their thoughts changed, so did the out there forms. One by one, each crew member was made aware of the unreality of the experiences, and happily they returned to home, the Enterprise, home to reality. They now got it. There is and there was no reality to anything out there, out here. When the show finished, I turned off the TV and sat thinking about what the show was saying. After much contemplating, all of a sudden, I got it. I really got it. So here's what I'm hoping. You'll get it too. And this is what I got. We live and move and have our being in a thing called consciousness. So long as we are in this consciousness, we are in reality. We are in the land of nothingness, the land with no forms. No forms. Having no form, there is nothing to label as good or bad, nothing to judge, nothing to have an opinion about, nothing to want to be or fear in this void. In this void, I was completely engulfed in the allness of the nothingness. The allness of the nothingness. I was experiencing a completely satisfying peace. I do believe this is the first realm, or as Jesus said, the first mansion. And this is something everyone can experience. But for some yet unknown reason, we instead take a shore leave. That means that we go to the external realm and experience our mental images, and we call them reality. Well, while we're on our shore leave, we experience duality. The entire shore leave experience is comprised of pairs, of opposites, good and bad, happy and sad. On our shore leave, we are not aware that we are on a shore leave from home, from consciousness. On shore leave, we believe that out there is reality. Just like they thought on the Paradise Island it was reality. And what happens when you believe that it's real, then you're on a shore leave. You don't question the things that you experience. They just are. They just are. Each minute you exist in the world of form, you are on shore leave. you have left reality. On leaving the reality of consciousness, our minds create mental experiences that play out on the screen of life. These outer experiences are what I refer to as shore leave. Most call it reality. Each shore leave takes you out into the external realm of make-believe, and what we as humans experience is then limited to our own personal awareness, limited by our own personal beliefs, usually the beliefs of others that have been handed down, but nonetheless beliefs. The reason that this it has nothing to do with what's going on in consciousness, because nothing can be going on in the consciousness without an observer. Within this incredible void lies those unlimited possibilities. And once consciousness has an observer, you, me, that observes the attention, well, that creates the forms you see and experience when you're on shore leave. And once the attention of the observer is removed, the form fades back into the void, become part of the vast nothingness of the allness of the void. Your mental pictures are not solid realities until you label them. Then they seem real to you, but they're not real. Nothing is real out here. And this is what happens to the crew of Enterprise. They were experiencing their mental images, not reality. Not anyone or anything containing a form is or can be real. Why? Well, for something to be real, it cannot change. All forms change. There is no reality to mental images, no matter what form they appear to you. The appearance itself tells you that it's not real, because appearances, defined in dictionary, are false showings of reality. False showings of reality. Well, the crew members really believed the forms, believed the good and the bad appearances were real. And they would have spent their entire life going from good experiences to bad ones, believing they were all real if Spock or some other enlightened being was not around to show them the way back into the reality of pure consciousness. So if you'll stop and do some thinking, you'll find that you cannot experience anything without consciousness. Your entire external reality is mental. Mental images, mental pictures that take form, and they seem to appear outside. But then on closer thinking, you find there is no outside of consciousness. There is no reality out there, out here. There is nothing outside of consciousness. And before a form can be realized in the outer realm, it first needs to be observed. And with it, the attention that appears as the outward form of your belief appears. Each observer, you, me, are the creator of our own universes, just like on the shore leave from the Enterprise. It has nothing to do with some God, nothing to do with some God. It is when you are not conscious of reality and are out in the external shore leave that your mental images seem to take on a life of their own and then become an out there reality for you. So when you decide to leave reality and go on a shore leave to the external world, you appear with a body, a form. Form means created in the mind. Your form was created in the mind, created in the consciousness. Form means the appearance. Appearance, remember, is false showings of reality. It is always in your mind, your consciousness, that you live and that you find and focus your thought on a mental picture, and through that attention, the picture shows out as something solid and real. But the hard fact is, just like Paul said, you live and move and have your being in Him, in consciousness. Go ahead, try to see without your thinking. It simply is not possible. But on the other hand, consciousness being an ever-present thing needs no materiality. Consciousness is never bounded by the material stuff. Never. Consciousness is never dependent on anything. But all material things need consciousness to be. You see, all that you see, hear, feel, what are they? They're your opinions. They're your beliefs. There's no out there. We do not know what reality is due to the fact that we are born to a world of conditioned beliefs. Then we are taught these beliefs. Belief that change as new facts without proof emerges. Well, the truth of an inner living consciousness can be proved, and in fact is being proved daily by those who dare to step out of the beliefs of the past and get it. External reality is, was, and always will be only a reality as a belief. And all belief is a mental act. Mental, performed in the mind. Mind, opinion, focus, attention. Your mind is the instrument you use to focus your attention on the inner mental images, and once you're aware of the mental images, your belief takes over. Beliefs, opinions of long ago that have been handed down, as was the flat earth in its day. The flat earth, and the opinion of others. It was never an actual fact, though the entire world believed it was. The same is true of all physical reality. Without a consciousness to first have a mental picture, and then to observe that picture, and then to have a belief or an opinion to whether it is good or bad, and then agree to it, there is no object, there is no form, there is no appearance at all. Why? You have to be thinking. Because the ancient conditioning, you are unable to detect this conditioning. That's sad. It's all ancient conditioning of the invisible world. As a storm cloud hides the sun, the pleasures of self hides reality. And they continue on with our shore leave in the external delusional world until the time someone or something shows us the folly of believing we could exist outside of our consciousness. As long as we are in the land of the living, as long as we are on a shore leave, we are never free. Why? Because free means not affected by forms. It means not restricted by given conditions or any circumstance of the forms, the appearances. But as long as we stay in reality, as long as we abide in consciousness, we will be unobstructed. That means not subject to external restraints and conditions. With all discoveries being made in the scientific world today, just think about it. You have quantum physics, you have everything out there now. And as long as those held beliefs of reality are, they'll be changed in another 100 years. Nothing's real. It keeps changing. Consciousness is likened to what happened in quantum physics. It goes like this. Until something is looked at, thought perhaps, it does not really exist. It is not doing or being anything. It is existing in the void. It is part of the conscious oneness, of the allness, of the pure consciousness. Because we have not gotten it, we are as babies that have not grown past their own self-interest, being happy to be right where they are and having no interest in things that are not obvious. We, too, absorbed in self-interest, let the external world of illusions and false shows become our reality. And in doing so, we are totally unaware of the true reality. Yeah, so busy are we on our shore leave, living out our fantasies of the mental images. And you begin your journey inward. That's when it all starts. You'll find that your outer experiences are nothing more than shore leaves. They consist of states and stages of your consciousness. Oh, it's so hard to understand that the human external reality is nothing more than a subjective mental image appearing outwardly. But it's true. So, if you want to experience reality, you'll have to leave the shore leave fantasy for the inner reality world of consciousness. How can you be sure that the inner realm of consciousness is the reality? By going there. By getting to know what goes on in the void. Getting to understand it. Then once you become aware of that inner reality, the possibility of many realms begins to exist. In fact, there are unpotential limited possibilities in the inner world. We have yet to discover them, but they are definitely on the brink of understanding the mysteries of the inner world. If you go in and look. The deeper your journey takes you inward, the more wonderful realms of many different realities that begin to appear. Consciousness is the path to this thus far unknown, wonderful, mysterious dimension. One of the first dimensions I personally found was the one containing the void, a realm full of nothingness. It was a realm without form. It was just a void. But to my delight, I found everything in that void. Everything was there, only it had no form. There was nothing to name, nothing to judge, nothing to have an opinion about. In other words, there was no good, there was no bad. In the void, I found the source of the all. I was the all. Boy, what an adventure that was. And it was my proof that there really is a world within the vast void of nothingness. Now, let's go a little closer at consciousness. We find 3 important words used to describe it. The first word is omnipresent. It means being present everywhere at once. Present, according to the dictionary, could mean readily available. So then, the all-present consciousness, God, is always with you and is readily available to you. Did you know that? Did you even think about consciousness being everywhere at once? Or have you just been living your life in the mental world of fantasies, living day to day without thinking of how or why your world is the way it is? The second word is science. That means total knowledge. This consciousness then has complete knowledge of everything. Consciousness knows everything there is to know. If consciousness is knowing anything, what is left for you to know? The last of the 3 words is omnipotence. Omnipotence means all power. Well now, if consciousness is all power, could there be another? Not in reality, not in consciousness, only in surely. Well, throughout history, mankind has looked out to the external realm for his everything. Now as the scientific world gathers new information, they are telling us that we are nothing more than a bunch of swirling atoms. Atoms, when broken down, have been found to contain empty space. Can you imagine that we as humans are composed only of empty space? Think about that. Empty space. I think it's kind of weird. Well, if we're composed of empty space, then we're composed of the void. Is it possible the world as a whole is ignorant of what reality is? Could there be a world, a realm, outside of this external reality? If it is possible. It is. Within our home, within our consciousness, there are many multi-dimensions, many realms of reality. And for those of you who love a good adventure, there is no adventure as wonderful as the adventure you are when you are not on a shore leave. Einstein got it and did not believe in the outer reality of appearances. We know this because his words. We live in a kind of optical delusion of our consciousness. This delusion is a very real kind of reality, but it's merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. That's what he said. Well, illusions are delusions. Delusions are wrong beliefs. Illusions are a state of being deceived. A state of being deceived by beliefs, handed down beliefs. Think about that. Einstein got it again. He got it when he said, a human being is part of a whole called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is kind of a prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires. That's what Einstein said. So it's our task to free ourselves. And Einstein said, the human mind is not capable of grasping the universe. The human mind is not capable of getting it. No, because the human mind exists only in the delusional realm where you are on a shore leave. There is no reality to the mental images, no matter what form they appear to you. But breaking away from conventions and familiar practices can be very challenging. But break away you must if you want to prove there is another reality. Well, traditional beliefs based on ancient thinking will stop you from exposing the delusions of your now reality. The truth is, there's only one reality, the reality of the nothingness of the void of consciousness. Remember now, Albert Einstein said, we experience ourselves, our thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest. On your shore leave, you are in a reality. It's kind of an optical delusion of your consciousness. And this delusion is a prison, per Einstein. Reality is really up to you. You alone are the creator of your reality. Remember Paul? He told the world, if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceives himself. And you only think you are something when you are on a shore leave. Think about it. Okay, let us take the word consciousness and use it for the word God and Spirit. And listen to what the ancient men had to say and see if you don't think they all got it. Well, let's see who we start with. How about Isaiah? Isaiah got it when he said, there is no God beside me. Or, could have meant, there is no consciousness beside me. I know not any. And Isaiah said, I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Meaning there is no other. There is no other consciousness. I know not any. Then he told us to cease you from man, whose breath is in his nostrils, for where is he to be accounted? Well, think about that one. Let's go to Moses. Moses got it when he said, I am. I am that I am. That probably meant because he really was consciousness. He was that. Whatever that was, as a mental image, was coming from him. Therefore, he was it. Then we have Joshua. Joshua got it when he said, remember not former things, neither consider things of old. He wanted us to forget the old ways and the old beliefs, and for us to leave our shore leave and head home to consciousness. Okay? Oh, John. John got it when he told us, you are not of the flesh, but in the Spirit. Means you are not of the flesh, but in consciousness. He also got it with, all things that the Father, consciousness, had are mine. And when he said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world, but rather on the unseen. Well, what's unseen? Consciousness. I think he got it. And do you think he got it when he told the world, if I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. Not true because he said, I and my Father. Or he could have said, I and my consciousness are one and the same. And maybe John wanted us all to get it when he asked, do you look on the things after the outward appearance? Well, we do. Paul got it again when he said, we live and move and have our being in it, consciousness. Paul got it too, I think, by saying, you are not in the flesh. You are not in the flesh. You think you are, but you are in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of God dwells in you. And by telling us, be not deceived by the external delusional world. Paul got it when he said we live and move in Him. Consciousness lives our life. And don't you just know John got it when he realized that we should not look at the things which are seen, but which are the things which are not seen? For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Consciousness cannot be seen, and it is eternal. Kind of interesting. Okay, I guess that's about it on this one. Kind of fun, I think. Bye.